Welcome to Pica TV Educational Mini-Series. My name is Cliff Quicksell. I am a consultant for Pica Marketing Group, and this is episode 9, Policing and Protecting Your Brand. At Pica Marketing Group, we truly try to instill in our clients the importance of having a consistent brand. You've worked hard, you've probably spent tons of money putting your brand together. You want to make sure that it's handled properly. So when it comes to protecting your brand, there are some responsibilities on your end, and we've identified 5 of the best ways to protect your brand. One is to always have a good offense. That's the best defense, and that is having policies and whatnot put into place that actually create a guideline of the way your brand should be handled and not manipulated in many cases. We also encourage having hosting a training session. And what I mean by that is anybody that's going to be involved in understanding your brand, and this kind of ties into number 2, by having a good brand or style guide, you want to make sure that everybody understands what can and what cannot be done with your brand, how it can be applied, what it cannot be applied on, etc., etc. Years ago, I worked for Anheuser-Busch. And one of the things that Anheuser-Busch was adamant about is that their brand could not go on like toilet seats, ashtrays, and things like that. So if you have these style guidelines in place, it really does help protect and police that brand. And we also want to have an understanding of the meaning behind your brand. What does it mean? What are you trying to communicate to the end user or the audience? And again, if you're taking good care of your employees, you will have a great work atmosphere, and that, believe it or not, truly affects your brand in a major way as well. So when it comes to protecting your brand, there's things that we look at, and that is consistency. That is one of the most important pieces of a good self-defense. Having this guideline that we talked about, or these brand styles that include things as your logo, and the usage of your logo, the exact colors, the tone to be used in the copy, and more. When we talk about tone, we're talking about how is the messaging being conveyed. This is a great source for you from an internal standpoint when you're working with your creative marketing team, and also any of the vendors that you choose to use on the outside. I've seen nightmare after nightmare about people that have taken their own course of action as it comes to someone's brand, and it really does deter from the perception when it's out there in public. So again, when you're outsourcing this to creatives and any agencies, it's important that everybody understands what your guidelines are so it stays on the same page. Fonts is another important thing, especially when it comes to the promotional marketing. Using multiple font families, like going from sans serif to serifs, and then different font styles in its own self, this leads to much confusion, and this inconsistency really does adversely affect your brand. To ensure the font selected will work on various mediums, so for instance, using serif fonts like you see here, oftentimes on certain apparel doesn't work well. For instance, on a piqué shirt, which is like a waffle knit shirt, those little ticks in the serifs in the font can actually get lost in there. So it's better to use a more stable platform when it comes to. So again, if you're working with golf towels and piqué fabrics like we mentioned, sometimes those fonts or those serif fonts have a difficult time actually holding up on that substrate. So we have an example of that here in a moment as well, so you get what I'm talking about. But again, understanding the fonts, understanding where your brand will look best and reflect the most positive image is really critical. The next thing, as we mentioned a minute ago, is the color. If your brand requires having a specific PMS color or a Pantone matching system, there are currently 1,114 different Pantone colors, and consistency is the key. And if you have the right strategic partner, they're going to ensure that the color that is representative of your brand is going to be used every single time. That way, everything is consistent. A good strategic partner is going to tell you, you probably don't want to use that red because it's not consistent with your brand. So when you're looking at inks that will go on certain substrates, whether it be a t-shirt, a coffee mug, whether it be embroidery thread, etc., we want to make sure that all of that is consistent. So for instance, an ink manufacturer that has a certain red may not be the same for the other two ink manufacturers. So it's imperative that you are working with a strategic partner that understands these guidelines and can actually direct you in the right space. So color is really critical, as you know. Here's an example about being brand police. Here's an example of the top image, as you can see, was something put together, and there's so many flaws in this logo. First of all, the outlining of the word championship weekend. It gets lost. The yellow on that white background gets lost. As you can see, the one below that, what happens is if you put what they call a walking stitch around each of those letters, it makes the word championship weekend pop off of that image. Also, underneath the F in Ford, you can see that there should have been a double border around that to be more consistent. And now the top logo, that logo is actually done in this inner oval is done in black where it should be done in white. So that way the Ford logo is now more consistent. And in the bottom where they've used all the gray in those looks like dots that are running across into the word championship, it should have been a gray, white, light blue to really create the brand. So, someone that's really understanding what your brand's supposed to look like will catch these things and make sure. Certainly, if you were Ford and you were having a championship weekend and this logo was going on various hats and t-shirts and polo shirts and jackets, etc., you would want it to be reflective. Ford wants it to be reflective of their brand and their brand standards. You are no different. When it comes to magnifying your brand and making it stand out, Pica does a remarkable job with these type of things. And what we've done recently, we did an end user show that was really remarkable, and we called it the Marketing Diner. And you can see we believe in what we do, and we want to make sure that everything that we do is consistent. So we create this incredible box, and you can see that the Marketing Diner logo is consistent on all of the products, the mug, the journal that had NFC, which is near field communication built into there. It's a chip where you can actually rub your phone over top of the journal, and what happens is it directs you right to a website to to get more information about this program that we were doing. So again, the Marketing Diner, the lunchbox. Look, these are earbuds. It looks like a little hamburger inside a hamburger box, and the pens, the yellow pens inside of the French fry container. All of this combined creates a consistent brand look and feel that really sincerely makes a difference. We're here for you. We'd love to be able to help you. But again, we are all about policing your brand and making sure that you stand out and stay top of mind with all of your customers. I would encourage you to look at some of the other education mini-series that we have on picatv.youtube.com. We have recorded these. They are really exciting. They're these little snippets that'll help you as you move forward. Again, reach out to the CEO and president of our company, Paul Zaffarana at Pica Marketing Group. Here's his office number, phone number, his mobile, and also his email and our website. We look forward to seeing you and looking forward to working with you in the near future. Bye-bye.